Here we go, boys. The time has come. Those 3 upgrades for the British Grand Prix. Come to daddy.
Right, some bad news on the development front. One of the parts failed quality control. It's on hold for now, but you can order the extra work from the laptop at any time.
This guy is ham roll of the week.
Time to go!
Get him out, fam. Get him out, blood.
What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 50 today for the British Grand Prix in Season 3, and you can see we have started off the episode in, well, you guessed it, a part has failed. If it had to be one, at least it wasn't the major drag reduction upgrade. It is indeed the weight reduction, so we still have installed onto the car the major drag reduction and the tyre wear upgrade for the chassis side, so you can see that on the graph there, if you look closer enough, that we have jumped up ahead of Williams, and we're just about pretty much level with Force India, like I kind of mentioned, maybe just a pixel under them, but now we have moved up firmly ahead of Williams, and Williams have fallen back behind not only us and Force India from last time, obviously, and you can see there is that failure. We're not going to go ahead and fix it right now. Of course, it will cost $450 to redo it, basically, and get it for next episode, but we're not going to quite do it yet, because I want to wait and see how many points we get at the end of this episode, and also potentially remember, at this point of the season, halfway through, there is a potential for a mid-season contract offer, and I want to see how this race goes and how the performance is and how I'm feeling generally about Renault and what my options are, and then we shall see, because I don't want to just spend unnecessary points if we're not gonna be here to see a benefit. So we're gonna leave it for now, and we're gonna go ahead to practice. It started off in FP1, as you would imagine, here at the UK, all raining and absolutely beautiful skies there. So we waited to FP2 and FP3 to go and set our practice programs, and you would have seen briefly there doing the engine components, going back to all column 1 for this practice program, and like we kind of did in Season 1, we didn't do too much of it in Season 2 actually, due to all the upgrades we were doing at the time, but in Season 1 we did this tactic of really squeezing out the performance of these engine components, and we're doing just that. You can see it's a little bit glitched out on the replay camera, but the car is smoking as my MGU-H, MGU-K and turbo are all in the red towards the 92% region on column 1, so really eking out every last bit we can. Of course, we have really worn out the MGU-H and Ks so far this season, due to the fact we're always using rich mix during the race, which of course is a benefit to us in terms of in the race. It means our car is pretty damn nippy in a straight line and can keep up somewhat with the likes of the Mercedes powered cars and the works Ferrari team, but it does kind of really knacker out those 2 components. So at the moment it looks like we may even go to component 3 for that during the race, so maybe have to think about doing some reliability upgrades to that later on in the season. But anyway, as I've been talking about all that, we set our Q1 lap time, and honestly don't need to really talk over the Q1 lap times because it's kind of inevitable now. We'll get through into Q2 unless there's been an absolute disaster, but you saw there me and Nico very closely matched in Q1 then. So we're into Q2, and you can clearly see we're on a set of soft tyres, pretty much doing that standard strategy we've been doing now for so many races in career mode of qualifying on the middle tyre. Of course, this will then be the tyre we start the race on. It doesn't look like it's going to be raining on the weather indicator for the race on Sunday, so we will indeed start on this tyre. And so quite surprising actually to start the weekend with so much rain. It was full heavy rain in FP1, and then not to have it for qualifying or the race indeed. But we moved to the end of Q2 then, the timesheet, and you can see both Red Bull racing cars knocked out in Q2. Both tried to get in on the soft tyres, didn't manage it. We did as well. We managed it along with, I think that was Kimi Raikkonen, and I think it was Lewis Hamilton there. But yeah, both Red Bulls knocked out. Very surprising indeed. They just went a bit too eager to try the same strategy as me and Kimi and couldn't pull it off there. So myself and Nico both into the top 10 then, and of course we strap on a set of supers off. So we come across the line for our first line lap, and it's a woeful lap time there. Really, you saw maybe a little bit of sliding in the village. You may have heard the kind of tyres screeching somewhat, or just as the kind of tyre face kind of gets a bit abrasive on the track surface. So a little bit of a poor lap on that first attempt, or I say a little bit, that's really an under-exaggeration. That was really quite a poor lap on that first attempt. So we go out again. You can see up then as we go through that Luffield section towards the old turn 1 cops, and then through the final corner. It will be a much better lap time, and I thought that was quite a big improvement, up to P6, and quite a big amount of time we found then. But then as we go to the end of the session, everyone else found seemingly the same amount of time as me, and Nico, surprisingly, goes even faster. I thought I did a pretty damn amazing lap in a Renault car in Season 3 here, but Nico went and beat it just by an inch there. Very, very close stuff between myself and him, and it started off very close in Q1, was close in Q2, and once again we find ourselves side by side on the timesheet in Q3. So, yeah, fair enough to Nico, and it's kind of been the pattern so far in the career mode that once we cross over to the halfway stage, that my teammate always seems to be going very well compared to me in qualifying at least. So, yeah, I mean, I relish the challenge, and it does mean both of us are, you know, benefiting from the upgrades we just did. Of course, that drag reduction is going to come in handy, hopefully, in the race to slipstream people, and hopefully both of us are going to be scoring some decent points this afternoon. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton on pole position for his home Grand Prix, of course, my home Grand Prix as well, so here's hoping we can do well this afternoon on the one-stop strategy. Tyre were upgraded, of course, as well, so hopefully that will help out. I'm hoping and crossing my fingers, unlike Austria, the other guys around me, the top guys, aren't going to be doing a one-stop from their set of super soft tyres they qualified on in Q2, and if that is the case, I think we could be in for some really high points potentially. So let's get to the full grid and then go to the race.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Raikkonen, Felipe Massa and Perez, Hülkenberg and Renault, Stroll and Carlos Sainz, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon and Grosjean, Kvyat, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso and Marcus Ericsson, Wehrlein and Stoffel van Dorn completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so on the same row as my teammate in P8, then he's P7, and you can see that one stop there. It's going to be all overcast for the entire race long, which is a little bit worrying because we've seen in the past in some of the career mode episodes when it has been overcast, there has been some droplets of rain that just come suddenly, and then it's kind of not damp enough to go into inters, but it's still wet enough to kind of make things a little bit tricky and slippery. So we'll have to see about it. There definitely is a chance here being in the UK, but filling up on fuel, and here we go towards 5 red lights then for the British Grand Prix, halfway through Season 3 for the home Grand Prix. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. The lights on for an absolute age there, and it hasn't exactly been the best getaway from P8 on the grid as we go towards turn 1. Raikkonen going a little bit slow to turn 1. We've got the Williams on the left hand side of Lance Stroll there trying to make up some places. We're going to dive it down the inside of Sergio Perez and Nico Hülkenberg at the last minute. They're just spotting the space, and Nico caught napping a tad. We try to hang it on the outside line for that left hander. It doesn't work out. We get squeezed out and we have to tuck in behind, but we're up into P7 then, so all in all okay, I guess, to get ahead of at least Sergio Perez. And then you can see a whole load of slipstream there, rich mix of course, and the drag reduction seemingly coming to play quite a bit, although we do lock up on the left front tyre, so that allows Nico to hang it on the outside then for Luffield. So he's coming back at us, and he's actually got us then, and he's still there. We go toe to toe as we go towards Copse then, but the drag reduction definitely came into handy straight away. You saw how much straight line speed we were able to gain as soon as we got in behind Nico on that main back straight towards Luffield. And now, speaking of some slipstream, it's going to be Sergio Perez then to slipstream Nico Hülkenberg. They're going to go side by side into Maggot and Beckett. So Hülkenberg put off a little bit as we overtook him towards Copse, and now he's going to have to try and defend from the car behind him rather than look ahead of him. And it's going to be Sergio Perez to overtake him, and Nico may be under pressure then from the Williams car behind, and Perez up the orders. There goes Massa. I think there's on a Stroll. Sorry, that's Stroll to overtake Nico Hülkenberg in the background, and ahead of us you can see it's Kimi Raikkonen, who had a very poor start and finds himself behind the other Williams car of Felipe Massa, that is, as they go through the final corner. Sebastian Vettel now on board with him, chasing down Lewis Hamilton, and it's Valtteri Bottas leading the British Grand Prix. So Hamilton lost it off pole position, and Valtteri is the one that lead. Of course, going into this, Vettel and Valtteri on level points for the World Championship. So that's going to be big stuff there for Valtteri Bottas, as now Kimi Raikkonen on lap 2 down the inside of Felipe Massa into Stowe, and he's made that pass stick, and so Massa now is going to be susceptible to us as we close up through the last few corners, and moving on to lap 3 through Maggot and Beckett as flat out as we can through every corner, gaining some time on Felipe Massa. We're in standard mixture at the moment. We can bump it up to Rich on the exit here as we just about managed to control the car there. Got away from us a tad and had to go opposite lock for a split second, but Rich mix, DRS open. We're going to swing to the right, and it's going to be a nice easy move for us down the inside, nice and easy on the brakes, down to 4th gear momentarily to get the nose turned in, and we're up into P5. And up ahead it looks like it was a scrap lap and a half between the Mercedes car of Lewis Hamilton and the two Ferraris. He's been overtaken by both Ferraris, it looks like, so Hamilton now is the car ahead of us in P4, but you must say, for lap 3, we're still pretty damn close to these top guys. I think Bottas is the one that's bolted, but these three very close, and this is why them three having a huge scrap. It's a 3-wide moment to Stowe. Beautiful stuff. As you can see, Vettel round the outside, Raikkonen to the inside, and it'll be Raikkonen who's the lead Ferrari then that pack ahead of Vettel, and then Hamilton. Beautiful stuff. The two Ferraris ganging up basically on Hamilton and bullying him out of that position from P2 down to P4. So Hamilton struggling, whereas his teammate in a world of his own at the moment controlling this race. As we move through the laps then, we're actually staying with Hamilton, but unfortunately for me, although I want to be looking ahead of me, and that's the only thing I want to be doing, and looking to gain on the Mercedes car, I do have to continue to look behind me as well, because you can see that Force India of Sergio Perez is right behind us and a lot closer to us than we are to Hamilton. And as we spark away down into Luffield then, Perez gaining and gaining as the tyres start to go away from us a little bit, and I'm starting to struggle to keep up with the pace of Hamilton. Of course, I did have aid of DRS of Hamilton, but that will eventually go away from us as we drop off from pace. But as we move into lap 8 then, we're still in P4 now. This will be as one person has made their pit stop. As we go through the final corner, then you can see in the minimap though, a couple of people now coming in, so we will get up the order. Of course, most of those guys on super softs, a few of them on soft tyres also pit that lap. So interesting strategy from some soft tyre runners of Raikkonen and Hamilton, I think it was. They pit in at the same time as the super soft runners, whereas I continue on, you can clearly see on lap 10, and I'm going to stretch them as much as we can, like the default strategy is for a one stop with soft tyres, which was a little bit peculiar to me. So it looks like I'm in luck here. Unlike Austria and unlike Azerbaijan, it looks like the top guys aren't making a one stop work. They're all going for a two stop here. Even the guys who started on the same tyre as me, it looks like they're unable to make a one stop work. Whereas, I don't know, maybe this is the tyre where upgrade kicking in. Maybe even though the car didn't feel amazing and I was dropping off for sure away from Hamilton in that first stint, maybe relative to the delta pace of everyone, the tyre wear is not too bad for us. So we strap on a set of medium tyres then, and we're going to go to the end of the Grand Prix then, from lap 11 to lap 26. A whole load of laps to go, and this is actually probably 1 or 2 laps earlier than I wanted to than the default strategy, but I felt like I was forced, my hand was forced into coming in 1 lap earlier at least, from lap 12 to lap 11 instead, due to everyone else making an earlier pit stop. And as we come out the pits, Sergio Perez is the one on the left-hand side to overtake us into Village, so you must say, probably a good decision from us, otherwise we probably would have been further back, and Perez probably would have been at this corner by the time we were coming out of the pits if we'd stayed out for 1 more lap. So he's got the undercut. Of course, the rest of the guys, the top guys, they were already ahead of us anyway, but the crucial thing is they're all going to be making 1 more stop. Perez is on a set of medium tyres, so he will not. He'll be going to the end of the race with us, so both of us trying a bolder one-stop strategy. So if we can get past Perez, then the rest of the guys ahead of us are all going to be on 2 stops, so that's one less thing to worry about. And with DRS, rich mix and a bit of slipstream there down the back straight towards Stowe, we do make that pass pretty damn easy actually, and we're up into now what will be P8, and we can see ahead of us we've got the Sauber in P7, so that'll be another car to dispatch, but a car we don't need to necessarily worry about necessarily for the strategy wise. And as we look back behind us now on the replay camera, it's Nico Hülkenberg, our teammate, on super soft, so he's definitely on a 2 stop this afternoon, but he's closing up to Sergio Perez, and he's going to make a pass here, a DRS open. He's going to go to the inside and pretty much make a copycat move like the one I made. They'll go side by side a little bit longer though than myself and Perez did. Unfortunately though, frustratingly me to watch, Hülkenberg then comes straight to the pit. So, you know, Hülkenberg showing some really good promise there, but once again, my teammate not performing as the same as I am, just because he's making a worse strategy call. So, you know, after all the improvements to the AI, that's still one thing that it's a little bit frustrating to always witness the AI of your teammate. It just never makes the same clever calls as you can, obviously. It's a different ball game being a person compared to the computer, obviously. As we go down the inside of the Sauber, we're in lean mixture in Magnussen and Beckett as we closed up quite rapidly, and he lost us a little bit of time there, but not too much, and we then made the pass very easily into Stowe, and we're up into P6 then. So we'll continue on, and as we go on through the laps, this is Lewis Hamilton then into the pits onto a set of soft tyres, the same for Sebastian Vettel, and that is their second and final pit stop of the afternoon, and they will fall behind us. Meanwhile, still leading the race, out ahead for 1 more lap, I think this will be, is Valtteri Bottas from Kimi Raikkonen, and then it's actually Felipe Massa who might just about jump Vettel and Hamilton here, because I believe Hamilton and Vettel may be hitting some traffic, so Massa may have a good opportunity to be ahead of both those guys. So we come through onto lap 15 now. This is the final few top runners making their pit stops. Massa into the pits, Raikkonen into the pits, and the same for Valtteri Bottas. So we come through the first turn, and we're up into P1 of this Grand Prix. So we are now, it's all about controlling this race, and as Bottas comes out of the pits, he'll just be behind Max Verstappen. He goes to the inside, into the village section. Verstappen, though, comes back. We know how aggressive he is, and he defends very well. He's on the medium tyres as well, so him and Perez both trying the one-stop. So the top three now, myself, Perez, and Verstappen, all on one-stops this afternoon. So can all three of us cause an upset at the British Grand Prix and all make it a very weird podium? This definitely would be a weird podium to see myself, Perez, and Verstappen. Maybe not Verstappen, but definitely Perez and myself in the top two here. We'll have to see, but Bottas for sure on P4 is going to be chasing them down very hard. But as we cut to a shot down the back straight towards Stowe, the saving grace for Max Verstappen at the moment is that he's in DRS range of Sergio Perez. You can see that rear flap was open. That's helping him and basically neutralizes the straight line speed the Mercedes car will get. And we know from real life how bad the Mercedes car can be at following other cars. So for now, Bottas is going to be stuck behind in fourth place, and that's going to work in our favour, an absolute treat. And the same can be said for the secondary pack behind these guys. It's Daniel Ricciardo in fifth place, so another Red Bull and Force India combo there of Esteban Ocon then ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Then a Toro Rosso separates Vettel and Hamilton, so Hamilton even further down the order, lost out so much in the pit stops then. Vettel having to do all the work here as well, along with Kimi Raikkonen, both Ferrari cars behind Ocon and Ricciardo. So a lot of key players behind slower traffic, and the traffic may just be the thing that helps us this race. For now, we're still in P1, and it's currently lap 18 out of 26, and on this lap, Valtteri Bottas finally has the overspeed. Rich Mix probably as well with DRS open down the inside of both of the cars to make a double pass for P2 in this Grand Prix. So Valtteri Bottas definitely does want this victory this afternoon as we go through the final chicane coming forward to us, and this is us going through the final corner still in P1 up into standard mixture. We were in lean momentarily to get the traction through that final corner, and at the moment still hanging on, but now Bottas has clean air. So how rapidly is he going to catch up, and can we do anything to defend from Valtteri Bottas? We'll see as we move through later into the Grand Prix, though. To my surprise, Valtteri Bottas is not catching us, and there's a train forming behind him. It's a train of Sergio Perez, then Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen. Raikkonen has overtaken Ricciardo, and he's now on the back of the Force IndyCar. Will he make a move into Stowe? No, he won't. Not quite, but Perez hanging onto the back of Bottas, and Bottas seemingly not getting away from this train, surprisingly, to my surprise, and to my, delight really. On lap 22, we're able to pull out the gap. You can see on the minimap there, we're actually pulling the gap to Bottas. We're setting a personal best now. We're getting in the groove finally. The medium tyres are actually feeling not too bad, and I'm finally finding a rhythm around the British Grand Prix on these very, they start off as very bad tyres, the medium tyres. They just don't want to grip in. It takes quite a lot of time to heat up, I feel, as all these guys on soft tyres, most of them. And you can see Sebastian Vettel still caught behind Daniel Ricciardo. His teammate Raikkonen able to pass him earlier on in the race, and is now finding it a tricky situation to get past the Force India. But here goes Vettel finally, maybe, as we talk about it, through Copse, down the inside of Max Verstappen. They'll go side by side on the exit towards Magnussen to Beckett. It's all going to be about who has the bigger balls to stick it in and keep it in, and it's going to be Vettel making contact, and he's off, and he's into the wall, and he's out of the British Grand Prix. Vettel did have the balls to stick it down the inside, but unlucky and unfortunately for him, it was an unfortunate racing line and a bit of a racing incident, I feel, as the two just came together very awkwardly. I don't think even Verstappen really felt much of that contact. But Vettel out of this Grand Prix, so he goes from winning the last round at the Austrian Grand Prix to out here and completely without points. And of course, remember I mentioned earlier, he was on level points with Valtteri Bottas, the man in second place in the World Drivers' Championship. So that's going to play into Bottas's hands, and that's going to see Bottas at least comfortably 18 points ahead. That is if he stays in second place, because he has been struggling for some reason. I'm not too sure. Maybe he has some engine issues now, Bottas does, because he's struggling. And the same can be said now of Kimi Raikkonen. Is now Hamilton gets impatient, makes a move down the inside. Will Raikkonen be able to do anything? Yes, he can, as we come onto a beautiful little nose camera shot, and he manages to somehow go down. Oh my god, what on earth is Kimi Raikkonen smoking at the moment? He's gone around the outside of Stowe of Lewis Hamilton, and then he sent it down the inside of Sergio Perez. It looked like he was going to lose one position, but now he fancies taking two back, and Raikkonen round the outside of turn one, and I think he's made it, and he's up into P3. So I was going to say Raikkonen maybe is struggling as well, like his fellow Finn Bottas, but not the case as we move on now. This is the last lap of the Grand Prix, lap 26 out of 26, and Raikkonen on a charge here to try and steal P2, and this is going to be great for Vettel, at least his teammate, because of course that's going to take points points off his rival in the championship as Hamilton also goes down the inside of Sergio Perez. Raikkonen takes second place with ease, and it's going to be Hamilton to also take fourth place off Sergio Perez then, and so the podium will be myself, Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas, but more importantly, the most important part of that is ourselves winning the British Grand Prix. We've won at Silverstone, we've won the home Grand Prix. Get in there. Get in, our second win of this season here for Renault. It's a glorious day for us, the home Grand Prix. That is got to be the best feeling in the world, to win in front of the home crowd. And of course, it was all down to that one-stop strategy, softs to the medium tyres, going the distance on the mediums. We got into first place with everyone naturally making their pit stops. And then, yes, I will admit, we did get very lucky indeed with Valtteri Bottas. For some reason, just had some sort of issue on the car. I don't know if it was the engine components, perhaps, maybe halfway through the season. Wouldn't surprise me, actually, as I've been facing a lot of issues, of course, as well. And he just, for some reason, couldn't get away from Perez. Maybe, I don't know, Perez, maybe we missed it. We maybe missed the replay camera of Perez attacking Bottas, and that just kind of put off his tyres a little bit, maybe. But he couldn't get it away from him. He formed a train behind him, a kind of a 5-6 car train, and that allowed the likes of Raikkonen to close up right from the back of Daniel Ricciardo to overtake him, to overtake Sergio Perez, and for Hamilton also get him at the end there, and Raikkonen with a really great comeback for second place to snatch second from Bottas at the end on the last lap in the second last corner or third last corner of the Grand Prix. You can see in the championship then, it's still going to be a really good advantage there for Valtteri Bottas to get away from Vettel, with Vettel scoring no points. Hamilton stays put in third, myself staying put in fourth, still ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, surprisingly, and we're only 20-ish points off the lead of the championship, so... You know, I think I saw one comment about that, you know, we're not too far off. You know, if others have bad luck, you know, it could get quite tasty. I don't want to tempt fate here, but in the Constructors at least, the job we're trying to do in the Constructors is comfortably being third, and we are still doing that. Red Bull nowhere near us in the Constructors, so it looks like for now, we have that third place very safely in the bag, and really, as I said before, it's Force India that Red Bull have to kind of worry about, but it's now time for that, you know, much-awaited mid-contract event that we knew was coming at the British Grand Prix. Always happens halfway through the season here at the home Grand Prix for us, that our manager is going to ask us if we're happy and if we want to move away from the team, and it is going to be that same offer we've got twice now from Season 2 of going and jumping ship, betraying Renault and going to Mercedes, Ferrari or Red Bull Racing. And, you know, it was definitely a decision I wasn't taking lightly, because I want to, you know, be starting to win races consistently. I want to be up there fighting and just getting stuck in, really. I'm getting a little bit tired of, you know, just not having quite the pace to match further than fifth place sometimes. And I want to get stuck in. And, you know, I was quietly kind of setting myself a target of 2 wins. Before this race came, and we've got that second win at this race, albeit, yes, a little bit lucky, but we did have the pace to make the one-stop work, and I feel like we would have had a chance to defend from Bottas if he came up behind us. So, in the end, I'm going to stick it up. We're going to go with up the Renault. We're going to go and stick with the yellow team, the banana team. And although Chris has been pissing me off quite a bit, we're going to stick with them, and we're going to continue on and give it till the rest of the season at least. Give it till the end of the season, and we're going to see how it goes. Maybe at the end of the season, if it's not where I want it to be going to Season 4, then yes, I will maybe consider jumping ship to a Ferrari or a Mercedes potentially. But I want to see how it goes. I honestly do. The upgrades are a little bit slow. I'm not going to lie, the R&D on this game has been doing my head in a little bit. It is just a little bit too slow for my liking compared to what it was in the last game, and the AI just don't seem to be doing enough upgrades themselves. There's not enough movement in the midfield, and the top guys aren't really shuffling around as much as I would have liked to, but we'll continue on like it is right now, and we'll see how it goes. We've got 2 wins now, some podiums as well. You know, who knows, more upgrades. I want to try and see maybe if we can upgrade the powertrain. I think is going to be the next place we focus on potentially, and some more aerodynamic upgrades, and I want to see if we can get some more victories. And as I said, you know, we're only 20 points off the lead of this championship. If they have more bad luck, if they're fighting like this, if they're going out every other race with a DNF, we could snatch a very, very we could be in a very, very surprise title fight. You never know. Never say never. Never say never. So we'll have to see about that. But for the rest of the season, we're going to continue in the yellow car, and we'll see how it goes. But guys, if you have enjoyed this thoroughly entertaining episode, smash that like button, guys. It'd be absolutely awesome if we could try and aim for over 3,000 likes, guys, for the win at our home Grand Prix. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.